Namaskar, dear seekers, and welcome. Welcome to our live stream. And today it is questions and answers. That means any questions that you have about spirituality or spiritual practice. So what we'll do, at first I will introduce myself in short, and we will concentrate for 2 minutes, and then after we will start our live stream. So first I would like to introduce myself. My name is Cyriac. I originally come from France. I live in India for more than 10 years in an ashram where I practice spiritual practice. And then since 2019, I'm now traveling in Europe, but for the past 2 years now we are settling in Germany. We are establishing an ashram for SSRF. SSRF is a non-profit organization that is registered in USA, Europe, as well as Australia, and it has two main objectives. One objective is to explain about the spiritual dimension and how it can affect lives in a positive way or a negative way, and the second is to guide a seeker in their spiritual journey all the way to God-realizations. And the source of inspiration of SSRF is a sense from India, His Holiness Dr. Jayant Attavuli. So I encourage you to visit our website. We have more than 900 articles on different topics and subjects, and everything we do on our website, as well as live streams or online spiritual meetings that we offer, everything is for free, because it is done as our service to God, and because we are a non-profit organization, that spirituality is free for everybody. So dear seeker, usually what we do before we start any live stream, which is a question answers, we will meditate for 2 minutes. So some of you can do your own meditations. Some of you can, if you repeat a divine name, you can repeat a divine name. Otherwise, you can concentrate on your own breath. We will play also from during that time a divine name, and then we will start with a live stream.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Om Namo Bhagavate.
So dear seekers, I think some of you in the meantime join. So welcome to our live stream. So I will share. It is question answer. So you can start writing on in the comments on either on from YouTube, Facebook, or Telegram. You can ask any questions that you have about spirituality, spiritual practice, or you had maybe something you experienced, got an answer or an explanations. So feel free to ask questions. If you can, of course, ask questions more on the practical side. We have different seekers who are moderating the different chat, and so I will address all your questions, so don't hesitate to, from now on only, write questions. Already, so this live stream will be around 1 hour. I will share also with you some different aspects about SSRF website, the different platform that you can encounter. If you are new, you can share and comments also, whatever you like to share. If some of you are already knowing about SSRF or reading the website, or you are reading on our website and you have some questions that at some point are not so clear about what we have written on our website, so we can also freely ask those questions. I will share, there is some question from YouTube, from Jazen. You say, may I could shed some light on perseverance and how to develop the quality. So if I understood, Jazen, you are asking how to develop perseverance, so that quality of perseverance. It's a good question, because perseverance, it's a very important quality for a seeker. Seeker is somebody who have desire to grow spiritually, because of course there are worldly qualities and spiritual quality, and in perseverance quality, because spiritual practice is a journey, so it's a we need time, and sometimes it takes time, so that perseverance is important. So one aspect of how to develop it, one aspect is planning. So if you do something now without any planning, so we try to achieve something, let's say even in sports, so somebody who does sports, how they are able to achieve something? Because through consistency, and through consistency is maintained through planning, a discipline aspect. So planning is something that helps us to develop consistency, and because when we have some discipline or consistency due to planning, then automatically we can see now some progress or some changes, and that actually can increase our perseverance. That is from the we can say practical aspect that you can do, but also another aspect is to make progress. It is important to have inner desire to make spiritual progress, and for that, when inner desire is to make spiritual progress, then automatically that perseverance will come. And so you may ask how to develop inner desire inside to grow spiritually. So same in a way, when it comes to spiritual practice, the main importance is how to do something daily. Because if we try to set some goals, so we keep some goals, I would like to overcome this within me, I would like to develop this quality within me. We give some goals, and then we plan it in such a way. So planning is a very important aspect in spiritual practice, and it takes time. Means if something we don't have, and increasing also spiritual emotions. When we increase spiritual emotions, that is something pleading to God. I want to change, I want to grow spiritually. That also helps to fuel inner desire to change, or praying to God, chanting God's name, because different we need, no? Only one tool is not sufficient. So repeating God's name in our mind, making effort to develop spiritual emotions, then automatically we experience something, no? And when we experience something, then that give us a boost to continue in our spiritual, that it increases our desire, it increases our faith that something is there, God is there. So Jason, you can see if it helps, or if you have further questions on that also. There is another questions here from YouTube also, from Brandon. You said, does smoking tobacco harm our auras or chakras? So Brandon, yes, actually smoking harms our chakras. We have some different UTS reading. It is a biofeedback device that we have used, and we have our website also that we have done in regards to alcohol or smokings, because it has a negative effect on our aura. Actually, we have made different studies that I invite you to read on our website. Alcohol harm our aura. The different colors and where also the food we eat can affect our aura. But of course, smoking and drinking can have an effect in reducing and affecting our aura as well as chakras also. And now I will go to another question. It is on Facebook from Susana del Granado. You said, how can we purify where we are moving in? So Susanna, we have actually articles we explain how to purify our premises. So what you can do, see on our website, see when you go to new places, usually some different small ritual can be done. But what you can do is you can put incense stick, and it can be done in a clockwise way. That means you start from the door entrance and you go in a clockwise way. You light an incense, you pray to God that if there is any negativity in that place, and then you go in a clockwise way. And it is advisable that when we do such type of act, it is important to chant, because at that time, if there is any negative energy, it can affect us. So of course prayers has limitation, but we recommend repeating the name in mind because it has more capacity to protect you. You can also download on our website. We have 2 audio. One is Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and another one is Shri Gurudev Datta. And those divine names, those 2 divine names, has the capacity and to reduce negative energy to some extent, and helps to purify the premises. We also have a different on our article that you can download for free on our website, so you can play those audio in your house and keep it 24 hours in low tone in different rooms or place from your home or apartments, because this will help through the effect of sound, because repeat a divine name, the name, form and energy coexist, so that divine energy as well through the sound helps to purify the premises. There is another aspect what you can do also is if you use, because see, all incense that the market may not be spiritually pure, because many of the incense are commercials. In SSRF we have produced some incense that is made and the combination of the product has been studied so that it is made spiritually pure. And so that's why after that, when you burn such incense where spiritually pure, you can collect the ashes and keep them in a container. 2 things can be done. You can either put it in water and sprinkle at the time by also repeating a divine name. It blown also. We have small explanatory videos on our YouTube channel. We explain about those simple steps, but just to share putting the audio, keeping the audio in low tone or higher tone if nobody lives there at the moment, it is better to keep it 2 hours. Also, what you can do, Susanna, is you can pray for this is a place, no? So the place is associated with some energy. So we can pray that this energy protect the place. And also, that's why what's more important, no? Repeating God's name is the most important factor. Or the person doing spiritual practice also is most important. Because after that, we do some different remedies, but after we indulge in incorrect activity, then that will be negativity in the place. So if you want to preserve the positivity or to prevent from negativity to come, spiritual practice helps to increase or protect the place where we stay. There is another question from YouTube from Koshal Kishore. You said, sometime while chanting, I cannot concentrate at all. How to overcome this? See, when there are sometimes too many thoughts in our mind, or we are stressed, but at that time we find difficult to concentrate. So what you can do, I don't know if you have tried to do salt water remedy, so you can try to do salt water remedy before you start sitting. You can try to do maybe to chant for 15 to 20 minutes, and you can do it few times during the day. It's a question of time. That's really you may be able to concentrate. Nowadays also negativity in the environment is much more, so it's more difficult for someone to achieve concentrations or meditations. That's why also you can play the divine name in your home or room. Otherwise, Koshal Kishore, you can also about necessary thought. There is one what we call auto-suggestions. So this is something that you can learn on our online spiritual platform, what we call also satsang, where we learn some different techniques, simple techniques that you can tell yourself, when I have unnecessary thoughts in my mind, I will become aware and I will start chanting. So it's a matter of time. By repeating, the habit of chanting will not only happen when you try to chant, but during activity. And when the center of chanting is formed in our subconscious mind, then you will be able to concentrate more easily. Also ask, you said also, I'm interested in that practice of Reiki, but as you have suggested in one of the earlier sessions, that technique from someone is not advisable. How do I learn it then? See, actually Reiki, why we suggest to do Reiki or pranic healing is because the chance of being affected by negative energy is high. That means that at that time we to channel different energy, or we do Reiki or pranic healing on others. And in today's time, many people are affected by energy. So when we do healing on others, at that time, negative energy can affect us. And we have seen many cases of people who have started to do Reiki or pranic healing after some months, 5-6 months or more, started to experience different problems in life. So that's why we recommend self-healing remedy. So self-healing remedy help us, protect us from negative energy, and help us also in our spiritual practice. There is another question from S. You said, what does a person do when distress is high? So maybe you can explain more in detail. If you can write again your question, what you meant when the distress is high, in which way how it comes out, because for everybody, in some maybe lot of negative thought in nature. So if you can try to specify what are the symptoms of when the distress is high. So you can rewrite, and we will again. There is another question from Luis. You said, what do you think about artificial intelligence from spiritual point of view? Can we use it to improve our spiritual journey? Example, ask questions over spiritual. See about spiritual artificial intelligence. No, God is what we say. God is universal intellect. It is not artificial, no. So it is made by God, by human beings. We have seen even today what artificial intelligence can do, some good things and some maybe things that may not be good. So, and when it comes to spiritual text, in text, there is what we call implied meanings. Implied meaning is through those quotes or words, there is divine experience, and it is to be experienced. So here artificial intelligence cannot replace implied meanings. So they may be able to find sentences, but just to remember that in holy text, it is written by sages or somebody with higher spiritual level. There are divine energy or implied meaning, and when somebody reads, they experience something within. So you can use artificial intelligence for different worldly things, but when it comes to spiritual practice, then we should practice. God is not artificial. No? There's another question from in 2 years, you say your question, in 2 years it will be Satya Yuga within Kali Yuga, which will last for 1,000 years. After those 1,000 years, will there be a new mini Satya Yuga cycle again in this era? So just to clarify to the viewers, what was meaning Satya Yuga, it's a age of the universe. There are 4 eras called Satya Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Treta Yuga and Kali Yuga. It was a very million years ago when people were at a very advanced spiritual level, and today we're in Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is called the era of where the spiritual level of an average person is low, and there is more difficulty and struggle as we can witness now. And after enter see this, Carlos, this is a theoretical questions, and we have explained that also on our website. So it will Satya Yuga within Kali Yuga, and it will go on and again until eternity. But more important, this is your question. Of course, it suscits curiosity, but remember that in spirituality, practice is important. So, if you read on our website, it will be after 1,000 years, we will go back again to a different era within Kali Yuga. What important is, in this birth, I should make spiritual progress. I should grow spiritually. So try to see how to ask questions. Okay, you can ask questions on curiosity level, but try also to go to the next stage where you can ask questions on practical. What should I do? Or what is my next step in my spiritual journey? There is another question from Prashan More. You say, in spirituality, what does it mean to achieve God? And how can we achieve God? So Prashan More, it's a good question. How can we achieve God? So what does it mean? See, just to give an example, God is actually everywhere. But do we experience God everywhere. This time, person is at a low spiritual level. They are more interested into worldly things. And when we are interested to grow, to achieve God, that means we want to realize God. We want to experience God everywhere. Everyone has the God principle within oneself, what we call the soul. But it is, in a way, we can't experience it now because of our mind, because of our ego. It is covered. When we are practicing spirituality, we start to experience this God within. And the experience of the soul is bliss. And this is lasting happiness. Otherwise, happiness has limitation. What we eat. Then we eat something, we feel happy for few minutes. That is happiness through or five senses. They are limited. Then after there is happiness through mind, falling in love, having some interaction with someone. Happy watching a movie. We feel happy for 1 hour, 2 hours. It can be longer time, but it has an end also. Then when this stops, then we become unhappy now because we don't have anything. And then there is happiness through intellect. Some people like to study or read something. So after a longer period, and every time the happiness is higher also. But it has always an end. But the happiness that we experience from the soul within is called bliss because it is of a much higher magnitude and it has no end. And it means because God is 100% bliss. Bliss is beyond mind and intellect. It only can be experienced. So that means we want to grow as a seeker to experience God within and God everywhere. And how can we achieve God? This is your there is only one solution, is to practice spirituality. Practice spirituality, what it means is I want to overcome myself. I want to experience that the God within me is there. And my mind, because otherwise I feel I am me. But when we practice spirituality, overcoming defect within oneself, reducing ego, this is daily spiritual practice to doing that, reducing the attachment within our five senses, mind and intellect. And then through that, we start attaching to the God principle. And for that, daily spiritual practice is necessary, required. That's why we have on our website, we have some where people come from all over the world, regardless of their path or religion also. Because spirituality is universal. Practicing spiritually is the same for everyone. Of course, depending on some time, the religion you may be repeating a divine name different of birth. But our mind is the same. Anger is the same in everybody. Ego is the same in every human being, regardless of religion. But for us, we have to overcome that and develop divine quality. So you can always come if you like to try. We have this online spiritual meeting called satsang, and you can come. It is weekly, 1 hour and a half durations. Seeker come from our conductor, and seeker who come also. What practical effort they do daily. We get inspired by them. Practicing spiritual is difficult. How we can motivate ourselves. So spiritual practice, we should do it with others. There is another question now on Facebook. It is from Sunil Primarisi. You said, what are stars while I meditate? You mean what I meditate? What those reactions is coming from sky when I meditate? Bhagava Vasudeva, Shiva, also Patidimani. I'm not so clear about this So what I can say is, see, ultimately, when we meditate, when we try to achieve meditation, is we don't want to have any thought in our mind, thoughtless taste, because we want to be in communion with God. So of course in meditations there are different ways. Some meditate on Shiva, some Krishna, but whether some try to connect to some stars or sky. But remember, ultimately in meditation we should have no thought. At one moment even chanting stop. And sometimes we are just becoming one with the breath. So what you can do, instead you God also, that's fine. But try to, when you meditate, to chant one name of God. And try to concentrate on that and focus on that and focus on your breath. And the target is not to experience something, is to experience oneness with God, means as in our mind. This is what we want to achieve. That is called meditation. There is a question on YouTube from Mateya. You said you have a question in regards to chanting. Chanting, just to share for the viewer, chanting is an ancient technique from India, not so much known in the West, because in today's time people know only meditation. It's an ancient time, and even today, chanting used to be given from time to time also through sages and different saints, is to repeat a divine mantra in the mind. Some repeat also Guru mantra, and it's a very effective. It is in a way similar, whether it is chanting or meditation. It's these two tools with God. The advantage of chanting is it can be done anywhere, anytime. We have some article and more about chanting. You can look on our section about chanting. So your question, Mateya, to come back to you, you say I chant 3 hours a day sitting with headphone, playing the chant from the SSRF YouTube channel. Should I continue like that or chant from YouTube? See, Mateya, what you can try to do, here you need, it is good, it is fine, but what you can try to do, if you can repeat without listening, just by mind. So here, see, because when you listen from outside, there is our process of listening is active. So what you can try to do now from time to time, you don't listen to the YouTube channel, but you are just in your mind with closed eyes. So and see whether it helps you to enhance concentration. Because it is more in chanting, what happens, it can be done by listening. So when we listen also, we are not concentrating enough, or we say it aloud. But by mind, it is more subtle, it has much more effect. There is another question from Bogdan Konkalovic. You say, why some people suffer and some are millionaires? If God exists, why doesn't he help suffering? So it's a good question, Bogdan, and see what happened now. We look only today as one life and understand that. So it doesn't look, if you look at it, yes, it doesn't look righteous. It looks unfair. But as per the karma, actually we had maybe many births. And we, in today's time, everybody go through destiny. Most of the time we go through our destiny. So that's why some people are millionaires. Some people are happy. Some people are unhappy. See, God, everything exists for millions of years, and we had many births. So we have done some good action or wrong actions. We actually are going through that, through our destiny. I will just give you an example. See, when I was in 2019, and at that time it was a young boy, of 20 years old from Germany, and he had cancer, and he started spiritual practice because he knew that whether he will be able to stay alive. And at that time, he wanted to meet us traveling in Germany, so we went to meet him, and I went to one of the main hospital in Berlin, and I met him at that time in the where you have all the, and I was sitting with his mother, and he was telling me, will I go live, because his cancer was advanced. And on the other side of the table, there were a table with 10 doctors who were having their coffee like pause. And then see, they treat him, the doctors treat him at physical level. But why a soul has a cancer and somebody not? And that is actually the law of karma. In today's time, we only look at the physical aspect, at the reason why there is so much things happening in the world. So when we lose with this viewpoint, then it makes sense. But of course, it is difficult to accept by mind why I'm suffering, why somebody is doing this to me. You can book down our article on destiny and karma. So often now we develop a syndrome, why me? The law of karma, the law of destiny. So Bogdan, if you have further question on that, you can ask. There is another question from P.I. Wonders. You said earlier I didn't want to do service to God, and now I want to do seva. But at that time, distress starts to increase when I do seva. What should I do? So we are trying to that next step. There are different steps in spiritual practice. One is repeating God's name. One is attending satsang, spiritual online meeting where you learn and you are company of seekers. And another step is seva. It is service to God. So that can happen at the time when you experience distress when you do seva. What you can do at that time, you try whatever is possible. Then you go back to chanting or self-healing remedy. Then once you feel better, again you try seva. And again you go back to chanting or self-healing remedy. So not to worry, because here more important now is our efforts. God sees our situations. God sees our efforts. So through that, your spiritual practice is happening because there is desire to do seva. So that's very nice. Now there is another question on Facebook from Shilpa. You said, sometime I feel a kind of vibration around the root chakra, no pleasant or unpleasant. It's like slight vibration. Why is that? So it's Shivani, see what happened now when we start some spiritual practice. I don't know if you are chanting, and at that time there is a Kundalini system. Kundalini is within us dormant, and most of our chakra are also. So what can happen in the root chakra at that time when we do some spiritual practice? It can be the beginning. We start from the root chakra. So sometimes some experience some jerks. I don't know if you have experienced that, or something. You feel some pressure from the root chakra. Small vibration. So at that time it is beginning when the Kundalini start getting awakened. Either when we attend satsang or meetings, or you start chanting or meeting. So at that time, the Kundalini can awaken for a fraction of a second, and then beginning sensation, we can be experience that jerk at that time. So just to continue, see, in some path we also have done some lectures required to try to force or awaken the Kundalini, because through spiritual practice automatically the Kundalini gets and start growing and activate the different chakra. But that is something we should not force. What you can do times when you practice spiritual or chanting, you may experience some pressure in different chakras. It can be root chakra, Manipur chakra, above plexus, or at the navel. At that time you can do Nyas. Nyas is a mudra, obeying the 5 in the chat, the article of mudra. It's a self-healing technique. It's from the science of mudras, of the 5 fingers, because there is in each finger, it's called Panchatattva, the 5 elements. And when you bring those fingers together and you chant God's name, it channelizes. It happens that sometimes the person experiences slight pressure in different chakras. So at that time you can put the Nyas at that chakra. Shivani, if you have further question about what I shared, don't hesitate to share again. But I want to share any one of you what I have mentioned or answered to you. If you have further clarifications or something is not clear, you can ask again. Now it is a question on YouTube. It is from Swati. You said, internally I have desire to do autosuggestions, chanting, but in practical I find myself not able to give my 100%. How come? You say how to overcome it. That's a good thing that you want to give 100%, but you find difficult, and you have desire to increase those steps, autosuggestion and chanting, and it is normal now. Ultimately, when we practice spirituality, we'll go through these ups and downs. Someday more, and someday our minds take over, we do something else. So that's why I shared in beginning. Here what you can do, you can use planning, timetable. So what you can do is, let's say, you can say in morning, I will do 1 autosuggestions, before lunch, before tea, or every hour. You can see how many hours or how many you want to try to achieve. So same for chanting. I will chant from 8:15 to 8:30, and I will chant again from this time to this time. You plan it. So if it is planned, if we keep our spiritual practice in the air or in our mind, then there will be always something that will come. Something our mind say, go and do this, go and eat that. So, and then we follow the mind, no? But if you then try to follow the plan. So of course, from time to time there may be resistance to do it, and we want to follow the mind. If you try to work on planning, that you will be able to achieve what you want to do. And that is the same in any to be some successful, whether it is in work or sports or spirituality. Planning and discipline is a very important aspect. This question now from on YouTube from Full Metal Workout: how to manage worldly life and spiritual practice together? I feel like give up everything for spiritual practice, and how to decide how much to spend for spiritual practice and how much worldly matter. So see, this is a good question also, because that means that you want to do spiritual practice in life. So until and unless our spiritual level increase further, then 50%, then 50% we want worldly life. So we have to keep on continuing. See, we have 8 steps now of spiritual practice. One is chanting, Satseva, there is PDR, overcoming defect, overcoming ego, developing spiritual emotion. So what we should try to do is increase the step of spiritual practice step by step, and to increase all of them stepwise, and try to keep them steady and keeps. Sorry, what happened? Our spiritual practice become more steady, and automatically at one point we feel to do spiritual practice only. Reduce, become less. We are attracted more towards spirituality. So if we want 50% worldly life, 50%, but you want to achieve more spiritual practice, then increase those 8 steps of spiritual practice. You can find on our website the article of the 8 steps, and if you want big, and we practice them on our online spiritual meeting. So I don't know if you are already attending our online spiritual meeting, because ultimately it should be put in a practical way, no? There's another question on Facebook from Sunil Premasiri. You say, every day I experience strange hundred of light goals. It's not clear the one. If you meant from the sky, some strange aircraft from sky are landing my garden. Someone is trying to give me deep understanding about the universe. Okay. So the message is to explain about the science of dreams, about dreams or nightmares. Here is more a dream, and whether a dream is spiritually. To share that when it comes to dream, it means it is more about our mind or our subconscious mind, what we are aware of. Nightmares, there is an influence from negative energy who can influence if there is repeated dreams. And when it comes to understand, the dream should occur 3 times in a row and exactly the same dream. Then only we need to pay attention to the significance in that dream, spiritual significance. Otherwise we should dismiss. As I shared before, the dream can be just because from our mind or subconscious mind, or sometimes it can be influenced also by negative energy, because at that time we are in a sleep state. So that's why for spiritual dream only, to analyze a dream only when it repeats 3 times in a row. Many people make mistakes of as they get in dreams, and sometimes they encounter difficulty after, or they make the wrong decision or different choice. There is another question on YouTube from Vashali Pava. When I increase my effort for spiritual practice, my problem increase. Then I do not have energy to fight the problem. Effort, what should I do? So this is a good questions, Vashali, and what it shows is that you actually spiritual practice. And what happens here when we try to do spiritual practice now and we want to increase, to grow spiritually, and negative energy affect most of individuals. So at that time when you try to increase, you experience more resistance or problems. So at that time negative energy can stop us to increase our spiritual practice. So what you can do at that moment, concentrate on chanting, on self-remedy. Remember, God is everywhere, and of course whatever problem you face, you have to solve, you can take care of that. Important, continue repeating God's name as well as doing the self-healing remedy. And it's a question of time. Capacity grow, the problem may be reducing in some time. In today's time also, negativity is prevalent. Today find difficulty. So Vashali, you can try to attend, and if you can, our online spiritual meeting. Why? Because we are we seekers. We are striving also to grow spiritually. It gives us a boost. It gives us motivations. So you can always register to those spiritual online meetings. I think this is reply. You are replying from the question you have asked initially, and you said yes, you don't feel uncomfortable or pressure while chanting at the root chakra. Yes, you can do, because we never know, no? So, and it's good to do. It just can help you only. There is another question now from on YouTube from Efin Aluni. You say, I was in a place one time and I was going to that place exact dream. Does it mean of bad things? Efin, I will just read again. I had dreamed about a certain place one time and I was going to that place at the it doesn't mean like that. See, sometimes you had a dream of going to a particular place, if I understood, and you went to that place. That's I shared before, no? Until and unless a dream repeat 3 times in a row to be the same, then to pay attention. It's spiritual significance. Okay. So, dear Sigar, I think we have the questions just to share to all of you, and we will have the live streams next Sunday also of question answers. And from today we have collective meditation. So anyone would like to join, it's the same time, 6 to 7 p.m. CET, and it is for 1 hour. And if you like to ask any questions, you can visit our live chat facility. You can ask any question we have just to share all time zones and answer your question usually within 24 hours. So don't hesitate to, if you have further questions, to ask on our live chat. If you like to practice and learn more, you can come on our online spiritual meeting. There's one question that just came from on YouTube for Muburi Joel. You say, what can you tell about the cycle of life? To share about cycle of life, as we are born as an individual, and then we grow through different stages of life. After as an adult, teenager, adult, as a whole person, and then at one point we die. But what is the difference? Is more important through different. We can see some get married, some don't get married, some are happy, some are not happy, some suffer, some don't suffer. And the point is because the cycle of life is the same for everyone. Some have a short span life, they die very young, and they die old. So it depends, and that is only because of destiny. So instead of focusing on the cycle of life, is outcome or the destiny I have, and how to experience happiness. Because ultimately, from the cycle of life, we should experience bliss. And quite often, the destiny we face not sometimes enable us. We go through the roller coaster of happiness and unhappiness. But as an individual, we should be able to experience happiness called bliss. So, dear seeker, we can end today the stream, and don't hesitate to contact us again or come to our further live stream. So, wishing you a blissful end of the week. Namaskar to everyone.